Thank you guys for coming back and joining us at the Hill Spot. We're going to go on to part two, where Miss Patricia talks about how her healing incorporated a new relationship. Yes, yes. Please
Yes.
tell. Please tell.
So, as I mentioned before, about me putting like so much like love into myself,
Mhm.
I was able to attract someone who I can't even not say
Oh,
he doesn't love me. Like it's like
oh.
he shows me, he tells me, it's like I feel like he worships the ground I walk on kind of thing. Like, he's
Oh.
just such a great guy. And I honestly feel like if I hadn't healed, that I would not, number one, probably appreciate who he is as a person, because
Mhm.
he is the lovey-dovey, I love you all the time and hugging all the time and making me feel like beautiful, and not realizing how insecure I was before and not getting those things. It was like, if I hadn't healed, I probably wouldn't appreciate the
Mhm.
type of man that I have now,
Mhm.
because it's like, in that last relationship, those are things that I wanted. I wanted someone to show me
Mhm.
that they love me, show me that they don't care who's around. This is me. This is mine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I didn't have that before, so it's like I feel like if I hadn't healed and like really know what I wanted, I
Mhm.
wouldn't appreciate the type of man that he is.
Mhm.
And even by me saying that I wanted to do real estate full time, like he supported me 100%. Like we now live together. We've been living together for like this year actually makes 2 years.
Mhm.
And he was like, you know what? I want you to do what your dream is, and that's your dream to be a real, a full time realtor. Then do it. Whatever I can do to help, whatever, like I got you. Like I don't care, how many jobs I have to work. Like I want to make sure that like you're good. Like he's like myself, like the biggest cheerleader for me, the best support system. Like I'm like excited to call him when certain things happen, because I know that he's gonna give me like the words of encouragement and
Mhm.
just tell me how proud of me that he is. So he's just amazing. Like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better partner, especially a lot of things that I didn't have before I now have, and not just doing a comparison, but just knowing what I said that I wanted in a mate, in my next mate. It's funny because I actually manifested. I feel like I manifested the type of person that he is, because I literally wrote down the type of man that I wanted for my next
Wow.
relationship. And when I tell you he meets like 90% of
Oh.
what was on that list, and it's like when I tell him that, I'm like, I know he got his like, he was all his ego was all in it, but it was like truly, even to the point of like I wanted somebody who, like, if we go out and I want to dance, he's gonna dance, and sometimes now I'm like, I don't want to dance, but he's gonna dance, it's like he's like, even something small as that, he's that person, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Um, and I really feel like if I hadn't, went through, like just knowing myself, loving myself, knowing what like my expectations are, knowing what I wasn't gonna no longer tolerate,
Mhm.
knowing what my deal breakers are, knowing like, okay, this is what's gonna make me happy, this is what's gonna make me feel like I'm in a great relationship. You know what I mean? Like all those
Mhm.
things I had to really sit down and think about. A lot of times when we get into relationships, we don't know ourselves. And I felt like
Mhm.
I did not know myself for years. And now, like, I know my power. I know who I am. I know the type of person I am. And I know what this other person is going to get from me. So not only am I, I have a great person, he has a great person too. Like,
Mhm.
I know who I am. Like, I know that you're going to get a great person that's going to be a support system for you too. That's going to, you know, make sure that if something happens that, I'm not a person that's just going to sit around and not help out either. Like he's getting a good person too. So it's
Mhm.
like that healing, came within knowing who my power was. Knowing
Mhm.
who my power was attracted me to someone who appreciated who I am and not trying to take advantage of it. And
Mhm.
sometimes people see your power, see your potential, see your just who you are as a person, and they just want to take from it
Mhm.
as opposed to adding to it. And I
Mhm.
feel like the partner that I have, he adds to who I am.
Mhm.
He's like, you know what, you make me want to he's already doing well for himself, but he was like, you make me want to elevate myself just by the kind of person that you are. And not everybody's like that, because everybody just want to feel who you are, and like, oh, well, she's doing well, I don't need to do anything, I could, sit back and relax, you know what I mean? But he's just not that person. He comes from like a good upbringing where, his grandfather taught him like, okay, a man is supposed to be this way, regardless of what this woman has, you have your own. And so, yeah, I definitely appreciate the type of man that he is. And I definitely feel like I met him at a good time in my life.
You said quite a few like very powerful things. Is first of all, and the last one that you just said, him being in this time of your life and how you manifested him, right? And in order for us to manifest or to attract these certain things that we ask for, these desires, we have to meet it, right? So we and I call it alignment. So if I am not valuing who I am, it's kind of hard to see somebody trying to show me value. If I am not just the different things that we do, including at this one I want to bring up when you was talking about just the different things that you said no to in your life. That's how we get the things that are the best for us. So whether you left your job, you were saying no to, some different things that you went through in a previous relationship that helped you to get to your yes. And what I mean by, again, yes, is the things that's best for you. When we do that work, and I hear, a lot of us, we say self-love, self-care, but that inner work is the truest, care that we should show for ourselves, because it shows other people how to care for us. So if I am not understanding my worth, then it would be it doesn't make sense to have somebody in your life that is going to help, just help you, build up how you feel about yourself. Now, can someone make us feel better? No, that's up to us. But it does help when you are in a relationship with someone that wants to pour into you, like you said, instead of taking away from you. I believe in reciprocal relationships because everything works in cycles. It works better when you're cycling out, instead of, like you said, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for you, and the other person is sitting back. Then you're leaving that person depleted, and it's hard for us to really care for ourselves if we're giving everything away to everybody, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, and no one is giving back in return. And there are even studies out there of how mental stress, or emotional things that we go through, definitely physical stress, how that depletes your body of the vital nutrients that it needs. So we need that emotional nutrients from, like you said, with your partner now. Yeah, hey baby, I love you. Hey baby, let's go have a good time. Hey baby, yes, you should keep doing, what you're doing, because it can, and I speak from my own experience, it's something different. It's something different being in a supposedly relationship with someone or mated with someone that is not pouring into you, and they're just taking from you. Now, and I will say this, because I believe it's all life lessons, and I am grateful for those people being in my life previously, because like Patricia said earlier, how can I appreciate where I am now and who I have now without going through, we all need that contrast, right? That's how we like, oh, okay, so I went through this dark, this dark era, and now I'm in the light. It's like, ooh, okay.
Right.
But you won't know what the light is unless you was in the dark spaces.
Exactly.
For myself, when I was in certain relationships, and I'm not gonna sit up here and say I was perfect either, right? But
Right.
these people, that I chose to be, mated with, and things that I want to do, like Patricia said, like even dancing, just being more expressive, because that's what dance is. It's not only us, just vibing to the music. It's how we express ourselves. It's
Right.
showing how we supposed to move. And I would even say things like that, but like, yeah, let's go do this and do that, but like, no, just shut it down without no
Right.
reason, because
Right.
they was fearful. And later I learned that here I was not valuing myself, not showing, self-love or really caring for myself. But I was also mated with people that was not caring for themselves well too. Because if they understood the importance of being in a loving relationship, then they would have wanting to, say yes to some things, and me, me as well. This, like we said earlier in part one about everybody got a story. I have learned to understand that if you can, as much as possible, know of somebody else's story, it gives you, you know, um, more information of how they are, um, and then to make peace with it. So, and what I mean is, some of the people that I've been with, and then and then even knowing of myself, how I was brought up, um, that's the reasons, some of the reasons why I would be the way that I was. Like you share with your partner now, of how his father taught him, is like, this is how a man's supposed to be. This is how a man's supposed to be. However, everybody don't have the same upbringing, right? So you might have someone that was brought up to, no, you got to tell your mate, whether my wife or a husband, no, you don't dance, because unfortunately in the community of my generation and older, a lot of that was like taboo to, like, to really show an expression of love with your mate. Hold
Mm,
their hands down, walking
yeah.
down the street outside. So like,
Right.
even when I would want to do that with these previous partners, it's like, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. So then when I get with my partner now, and we do that, and I just still think back sometimes, it's like, wow, and I smile, because I'm like, what I was desiring before, which was also, telling me about myself, me working on caring for myself more, and whether somebody holding my hand or not. But it just really shows me of where I came from. and,
Right.
and
Right.
then and then the life lessons, of it
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I used to hear self love all the time, and it was just like it sounded good, but it's like when I experienced it,
Hmm.
like knowing, like, okay, I'm gonna be pouring into myself, and if you don't love yourself, and like you said, you teach people how to love you, and if you don't love yourself and they see that, they're gonna treat you the
Yes.
same way.
Yes.
So, but if you have expectation of yourself, and you know who you are, you know your worth, you know what you're capable of, your values, they have, well, the right person is going to treat you in
Yes.
such a manner. Like, I
Yes.
can't, it's a joke that my boyfriend has now, because he was just like, man, you're so bougie or whatever, because he was like, he started calling me that because he was like, I know with you that I'm not going to be able to get away with certain things
Hmm.
that he probably could have with before. You know what I mean? And I told him, I'm like, honestly, you met me at a time where I'm not gonna accept certain things. And you're gonna have to, I guess treat me a little bougie, because, you met me at that time where I know that it's worth every penny that you're either gonna spend on me or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Because it's not like, it's definitely reciprocal, and it's definitely a situation where we're both going to make each other happy, you
Hmm.
know so it's worth it. So he was like, you know what,
The
I'm always making a
bougie.
joke about you being bougie, but you know, I love the bouginess.
And you know, a lot of people may say, a lot of people may say, call it bougie. If
Yeah.
for those out there that do not know what bougie means, bougie is, you know, just wanting certain type of services, certain type of, because me and my sister are in the same thing. Same way, it's certain services, certain food, certain
Yep.
places to stay.
To travel, right?
Yes, yes, we can't just, you know, just lie down anywhere. We have to have, you know, so I feel like the bouginess came from not having, or that like you said, that you know, how we care for ourselves before, how other people care for us. And because I know now it's like, you know, I said no to myself to so many things before because I didn't think I was worthy of it. I didn't think, you know, that I deserved. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go eat at this certain type of restaurant. And before I'd be like, oh, okay, well, no, I'm not gonna do it. It's like, yes, let's go there. That's where we're eating at. This is where we're staying at. And
Exactly.
and it's more than just eating at certain restaurants, eating at nice hotels, staying at nice hotels. Is that this is where I am in my life, where to me it's more than deserving. This is just what I am. I like to stay in certain type of resorts. I like to go eat certain type of food,
Right.
and be okay with that. And if somebody else wants to eat at a different place than me, then that's okay with them. You know, Godspeed. Uh, yeah, like even with the travel, you bring up the travel. Wow, and true story. A relationship that I was in. At this time, I wanted to travel. I'm like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. And I got in an argument with this person. And this person said to me, you need to get you somebody that wants to take you around the world. He was like, because it's not me. And I
Mm.
paused. And but later on, I was grateful he said that, because he was confirming what I truly desired. And he was like,
Was not.
hey, well, why you basically saying, why are you wasting your time with me? This is not what I want to do. So him saying no to that, it was up to me to say, okay, Nikki, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna make this a yes for yourself? So later on, when, you know, me and this person broke up, and my next relationship, you know, I met my now husband. I'm like, oh, this is what that person spoke up. He actually blessed me when he said
Exactly. Exactly. Not even knowing.
he confirmed. He was letting me know. It's like, and again, this is no slight. I don't want people to think that, because everything was a lesson. I still bless those people because they taught me a lot. They taught me lessons that
Yes.
I would never take away, erase. And I hope that they gained some lessons with me as well.
For
Because
me
like
too.
I said,
Exactly.
right, because I know I did, some things that in my past that could have been better. So it's,
Absolutely.
when I think about it, I'm like, wow, it's like that person was speaking that on me, but it was up to me to do something about it. Over
Yeah.
some time, it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna keep going through this with this person? This person keeps like blatantly telling me no and saying yes while saying yes to themselves for what they want, but I'm not getting what I want or need.
Yeah. 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 And it's, something that you said reminded me of something. And, this is what we talked about, how it's not, I don't want to feel like I'm bashing,
Mm-hmm.
the people who I was with before, or my ex-husband, whatever case may be. But it was like, it's truly when I started really knowing myself, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really like going through certain things made me feel like I want better than this. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's where that healing came in, because it was just like, you know, it's cliche to talk about, but sometimes the things that you see growing up um puts you in that place to accept certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had to my mom passed away a few years ago, but I read this book and it was about healing. And it says sometimes we have to forgive like our parents, because our parents, I know for sure that my mom accepted things that she shouldn't have accepted for a very long time. And I sat and watched her do it. And I said to myself, I was never going to be that way. But I actually was attracting people who were like my dad. And during that healing process, and I read that book, it was like, you have to forgive them, because that is going to stop you from your growth and your healing.
Yes.
And I basically had to forgive my mom, and I love my mom to death, but I was like, you know what? I forgive you for allowing me to see that type of disrespect that you allowed yourself to basically see. You know what I mean? And that was hard for me to even say out loud, because you don't want to think as you're like, especially for my mom, she did everything for me. And I kind of felt bad that I was even thinking that way, but it's true. I saw things that I shouldn't have seen, and I accepted things that I shouldn't have accepted because I thought it was okay based on what I saw. So that healing had to happen. And it's like, I also didn't handle certain things correctly either. Not to say that I was like this perfect person in a marriage, but at the same time, I felt like I was handling things how I knew to handle them. And
the level that you were at that time.
exactly. So that healing had to happen on so many levels. Forgiving my dad, forgiving my mom, forgiving just like myself for accepting these things, because that's another thing that you don't think about. You also have to forgive yourself because it's like you almost were, in a way, I was mad at myself for accepting certain things. Like, Patricia, how could you accept this, or whatever? But it's also like, you got to forgive yourself as well, because we're human. We are learning. We're always learning. We're always growing. Those lessons have to be put in there. And so you can't just, and this is where depression comes in, where some people have done things in their lives that they can't get past. So they end up being stuck in that place of hurt and pain, and depression comes in. Fortunately, and thank God, I've never been in a place of depression, but I definitely have been in a place of, feeling very insecure, feeling down. And I didn't like that place. And I never want to be in that place of staying down too long. And that's where depression comes in as well. When you stay at a place where you're just, things are hitting you left and right. As you know, from, my women empowerment events, within a month, I lost my mom, my grandmother, and I had a miscarriage all in 1 month. And I could have stayed in a place of depression, but I decided to move forward. And knowing that my mom and my parents would have wanted me to keep moving and keep living, regardless of that situation. So all these things are like moments of healing, moments of lessons, moments of, making me who I am today, essentially. And, I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. As far as parenting, no one's taught how to be a parent. They just learned just like we're learning, and so that healing process sometimes does have to come with, forgiving, as well.
I remember years ago when I was introduced, this being who has transitioned into the spiritual world now. His name was Dr. Wayne Dyer. And this was at a time where I know that these people were being attracted into my life because I wanted to heal. I wanted to get in the process of healing, because I was still in that relationship, and it was helping to like draw me out. It's like they was the rope. These different people that whether I be introduced to them through a YouTube, a book, I hear somebody talk about them, and then I would, do some research, and I'm like, oh, okay, I would read books and so forth. His name was Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he said in a video of how he harbored all this hurt from his father. His father had left his mother and his brothers and sisters when he was a little boy, and the mom couldn't take care of them, so he was given to an orphanage, and in different things, spiral from that. Fast forward, he becomes this adult, and he talks about how he dealt with depression, alcoholism, not able to stay in, have a stable relationship. And he found out that the hurt he was harboring, the unforgiveness that was attached to his father, was like helping him, promoting him to be to have a problem with alcohol, you know, the other relationships and so forth, because we all have different type of relationships, right? So when he went to his father's grave, and this is just how he did it. He went to his father's grave, and you know, by this time his father had transitioned to the spiritual world, and he said, "I forgive you." And he said he felt such a big relief.
Yes.
And then just spiritually, the doors opened, and it helped him to become this man that went on to speak about, you know, unforgiveness and so forth. And he wrote different books about it. And it allowed him to have a better relationship, you know, with other people. But if anything else, it helped him to have a better relationship with himself. You know,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I had to do as well with like I said, people I was in previous relationship with, whether it be romantically, people I was in relationship with, whether it be work wise, friendships, family. But then again, we all kind of family down here. And the same thing with me, even though, you know, with my upbringing, making peace with that.
Yeah.
Making peace that people was working off of what they thought was right, because a belief is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
You could look outside this window and I could say, "Oh, the sky is blue," and somebody else would say it's purple and truly believe it's purple. You know, so is I believe even with and me as well, because as I'm still growing on this, as a person on this planet, you know, the mistakes that I have made, the mistakes I will make, I know that who I am right now, that it was off of what I thought was the best thing to do. So if I am giving grace, and if I'm asking for grace from God, I'm asking for forgiveness. Why can't someone else be forgiveness, be forget gave as well? Because if I want healing, you know, I should want that from another person too. You know, if
Exactly.
how can we, you know, ask for the desires, you know, or our things that we have envisions to be manifested, um, without forgiving, letting go, release, like we said earlier. In order to, you know, gain something new, you have to be willing to let go of the old. And like Patricia said, that is one of the ways of how people get depressed, because they stay stuck off of what happened before. You know, oh, this happened 10 years ago. You know, like I shared about this man, which is known as a spiritual teacher still to this day, when he let go of what his father did when he was a child. And who knows why his father did that? Because we might say, you know, that, oh, it's a person supposed to stay in someone's life if they're a parent. But if they not really feeling, you know, or knowing how that they're going to take care of somebody else, and they can hardly take care of themselves, then that is an option for some people to leave. And maybe that could have been the best option for Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he did not know that. So I encourage anybody that's out there listening, whatever that has happened before, and this is not dismissing anything that you all have experienced before, but I'm here to tell you what you've been through, or what has hurt you. You are far bigger than your hurt. You are far bigger what has happened to you. And it's a beautiful thing, a way of being, if we can allow ourselves to let go of that, so God can really bless us with a life, you know, of not only material things, but just having peace. Because the more we hold on to that, you're gonna have restless nights. You're gonna have all these different things that are keeping you from having ease in your body. Yes. Be free.
Yes.
Well, Miss
Yeah.
Patricia, I want to thank you for sharing your love, for sharing your story with everybody. But before we go, I would love for you to tell others of how they can get in contact with you and where you're at.
Yeah, you can find me on all the social media channels at Trisha the Realtor. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. Um, I do have a LinkedIn, but you can find me at Trisha the Realtor and you can contact me there.
Okay. And I'm going to put her link down below so you all can get in contact with her, whether it's on a different social platforms. If you would like to rent her beautiful Airbnb, if you would like to buy a home from her, or the different things, because I know she is teaching real estate as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So there's so many different ways you can be blessed from Miss Patricia. Well, thank you, Patricia, so
Thank you
much
for
for
having
sharing.
me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and love you always.
I love you always as well. And if you are wanting to share this with others, feel so free to share. Make sure you subscribe so you can be notified of new videos. Until the next time, I wish you well. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.